So we've got, all of you here, and so 2 of you don't have Reiki yet. So we're going to go through the process that we usually do. It is going to be a self-healing for a bit, and then we're going to go over into sending healing to everyone that's on the call. So Aaron, you were here last time. You know what I will guide people through to say that even if you don't have Reiki, this is what you do with your hands, this is what you envisage, this is what you kind of intend, and it's still going to be the same effect on yourself. And then halfway about after we've done that little self-healing part of it, then the people who don't have Reiki, you just sit back and you just receive the healing that's coming from Maralise, Marita, Lani, and myself. And we're also going to be sending them the Reiki to anyone who watches this video in the future. And after that, we're going to have a little chat. And the chats are always very good. So I'm actually just going to start to play music and guide you through it. This is the timers that I always use when we do Reiki. So every 2 minutes there's going to be a bell, and that is going to be our guide to move our hands. You're going to hear these bells a lot during the course on the weekend, guys. And everyone uses this YouTube channel for all their Reiki treatments as well. So we're actually going to start first by reciting the Reiki principles. So you can just repeat after me, and actually maybe let's just get a little bit comfortable and settled into the moment. Maybe just close your eyes for a little bit and just take a few deep breaths just to calm down and get into the space. Okay, and then you can just repeat after me. Just for today, I will let go of anger. I will let go of worry. I will be grateful. I will be kind to myself. Apologies. I will work with diligence. I will be kind to myself and others. Okay, so those were the Reiki principles. And then from there, those with Reiki, you can now connect to Reiki. So we do it in our usual way of hands in front of our heart, connect to Reiki. If you don't have Reiki, you just set the intention that you are going to start a self-healing process now. And we always set the intention that this is for our highest and greatest good and the good of others. And then our first hand position is with our hands on our crown, and you just put your hands there and you let the Reiki energy flow. If you don't have Reiki, you just imagine love. It's just a beautiful, loving, high frequency energy that you are sending into your crown chakra, top of your head. And just sit there and let it flow. Now we put our hands over our eyes so that we give Reiki to our third eye chakra. And if you feel like your attention is slipping and you're struggling to remain in the moment, you can just imagine the bright white light as being the energy that's coming from your heart, of your hand, sorry. And see the bright white light and focus on the feeling of the love and energy coming into your body. And if you feel the sensation in your hands, now we're giving Reiki to our throat chakra. And now our heart chakra. And this chakra reminds us that we are all one, and then we can give love and receive love to others. And now our solar plexus is just about the point where your ribs connect, the middle of your torso. And this chakra is about our power, our will, and also self-love. And now our sacral chakra. Sacral is about 2 fingers below your navel, and this is the center of all our emotions. And then the last hand position is on our root chakra, so you can put your hands on the inside of your thighs or on your hips. And this chakra speaks to our sense of stability, safety, all the aspects of life on earth. And now that our self-treatment is complete, Aaron and Keith, you can now sit back and receive the healing that we're going to be sending your way. And Marita, Marilise, Lauren, and myself, we can now envisage a big ball of Reiki energy above us all and above a mass of people standing in a big open field. And this ball of Reiki energy has strands going from it to the crowns of everyone's heads. And we are now sending the healing to everyone, that everyone receives what they need, when they need it, however much they need, for how long they need it. And I can feel it happening. And Marilise and Lani, you can use symbols while you're doing this. And we're going to be sending this healing energy for about 4 minutes for 2 of those bells. And those of us who are sending Reiki, remember, you are also receiving Reiki, and you can open yourself up for receiving at any time, and during the giving you can also receive. So now as we come to the end, we can say thank you, and we know that the healing is going to happen. In advance, we are thankful for the healing. And then you can just maybe stamp your feet a little bit to be grounded again. Take a few deep breaths and just let that healing settle in for yourself as well. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. I don't know about you, but the moment I say we're going to start sending the healing, it's just like this. Just it kind of hits me every single time. I don't. Is it just me? I can say yes. It's just you. You're crazy. Oh wow! Thank you, everyone who's sent all the good intentions. And I want to ask Keith and Aaron, did you feel anything? Did you notice anything? How was it for you? Because you don't have Reiki, I'm always interested in. Did it do anything for you? Please be honest.
I'll say I just well, throughout it, I'm not sure how to explain, but by the end of it, I feel very calm and very peaceful. That's it. Through it, there's a part of me that's where I am. I'm not at home at the moment, so I'm in a place there's other people around. So I was conscious like someone might come in and interrupt or whatever. So I was putting that out of my mind, and it's more just focusing on being present. And by the end of it, I just felt very calm, very relaxed, very peaceful.
Yeah. And Keith?
I'm feeling very peaceful, but not particularly that there was any boom or anything away, but I feel very peaceful.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, and I would say myself as well, because I'm always nervous for these things. I honestly, I am. Like John knows as well, and like I feel like, oh my goodness, is it going to be okay? Is everything working? And then it just the peacefulness just comes over you, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to give into it, but you need to give it a few minutes. The peacefulness doesn't start immediately. It's like your nervous system needs to realize, okay, I can relax now, and like. There's more hand positions to come. She's not going to stop after 2. She's going to go all the way down, and then there's the healing. So I might as well just relax into it. And then when you do, you really do get calm.
I think that's the key for me anyway, is to accept that you are going to switch your mind off and don't be there thinking, okay, is she going to go through 7 chakras at 2 minutes apiece? That's 14 minutes. Okay, right. What am I going to do next? Like just to go, okay, like be absorbed in it. Otherwise, there's no point being here. And that sometimes takes a minute or two if you're just being busy with something else. Like I was kind of busy eating food late and like kind of, okay, quick, get here. And then, okay, settle, so.
Yeah. And I think that's also why having something like guided meditations, for instance, if you have to do it yourself, or even just me, if I watch a video to do yoga at home, I can so easily just change my mind and say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. But if you are listening to someone else or you're following along with someone else, she's just going to stop. I just have to give in to it and relax. It's a half an hour thing, so I've got to go with it for half an hour. But if I decide it's a half an hour, it's only me, I can stop halfway through.
Yeah, I think that's very true for me because I started doing yoga. And the thing I found is I'm someone that ordinarily doesn't sleep very well. Okay, I just don't. I never have. Like I'm always very active mind, etc. And I found from doing yoga, I could be like a yoga calm where I'm just lying on the floor doing a passive stretch, and after 15 minutes of someone just telling me to change position twice or 3 times, from nowhere on a hard floor, I'm asleep, virtually asleep, and it happens all the time. It depends who's doing it. Like with Cassandra, that I've done classes with her. And literally by the end of it, I'm so relaxed. But I go home to a nice comfy bed and it's late at night and I'm tired, and that doesn't happen. But having someone there that just is holding your attention or your focus makes a difference. And I'm hoping that changes over time, that, you can learn to do it yourself. But it definitely makes a difference when you have someone there that guides you and has that ability just to take you out of yourself, which is a great skill, I think, that you have and she has, to be able to have someone totally relax and just lose themselves,
Yeah. I think it's switching off your mind, because it's your mind is involved. Like, I can't sleep. Why can't I sleep? I should be sleeping. So you're thinking. But if you're just listening to someone else doing all the thinking, and they're verbalizing what they're saying, like me, next hand position, my mind is engaged. but yours don't need to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's therein lies the challenge, like to switch off your own mind.
Yeah.
Mhm. um, actually, so speaking of us, my little piece that I have to say today. So I always feel like it's a little like Bible study. Let's get our books. The topic for today. It's totally not that. It is. I thought I was going to talk about actually being self-centered, and it's kind of what we were just saying, like making yourself the focus. And there's this thing that I read, a little thing everyone knows by now, my favorite book, Conversations with God. There's this small little sentence that talks about being self-centered. And the difference with this, it basically we're saying you are the center of your own universe. Everything in this world revolves around you. You are the center. No one else can spiritually develop you for you. You've got to do it on your own. You've got people in your life that you interact with, but they are characters in your game. You're the main player in your own game. So you are the center of your own universe.
Mm.
And then that means that, and all of this is happening because you need to understand who you are. Who am I in relation to everyone else around me? Who am I in relation to situations? How do I react to situations? Because I'm in charge of me. And that makes it really important to be self-centered, but self-centered with a capital S. Not the self-centered or the selfish that the world thinks of when we say you're such a self-centered person, or you're such a selfish know-it-all kind of swear word inserted in there. It's not the same thing. Self-centered with a capital S means you're putting your own higher self first. You're putting your spirit, your soul, the bigger part of you as your priority. And if you do that, you are going to nourish, cherish, love everything about you, and do things like we're just doing now, doing self-treatments, taking this maybe an hour for yourself to put yourself in the center. And I think to say someone is self-centered has become this negative thing. But when we look at if we say it the way we mean it, with your higher self first, you are actually going to be the polar opposite of what the world thinks self-centeredness is. You are able to nourish and cherish and heal yourself. You can do that for others. And that's the opposite of worldly self-centeredness. But I don't know about you, but it's not always easy to put yourself first and to find that time to be, like I say, love yourself and take the time for yourself. Well, the things get in the way, right? But then now to tie onto that, I've got a very practical story here that's going to sound like it's not related, but it is. So bear with me. About a month ago, my husband installed a, what's it called? Sprinkler system in the garden where the house that we rent. So he convinced the owner that he can't be standing in the garden for an hour and a half, whatever, every week, watering everything. It's just taking too much time. It's ridiculous. Please, can you install? We will help to pay a sprinkler system. So the sprinkler system then went in. She saw reason. We're like, oh, thank goodness, he's got time back. He doesn't need to water the garden so much anymore. And it was amazing. The difference in the garden, because it was getting a little bit of water every second day, as opposed to an hour and a half of watering in total once a week. Plants that we thought had died, all of a sudden not just came back to life, but was flowering. And the grass has never been this green. It was absolutely astounding. And that made me realize how looking after yourself and just preventing yourself from dying, just letting things keep going on by taking a holiday every 3 months, or taking a Sunday where you don't check your phone, you're not looking at emails 1 day a week, is not the same as taking regular breaks, as looking after yourself consistently over a long period. If it's good enough for them to get a little bit of nourishment consistently and thoroughly, as opposed to just one big holiday, one big bunch of water, one big thing. I mean, if it works for them, it would work for us as well.
Mm.
So that's the same thing with being self-centered. If you need to take a break, even if it means not answering the email of the person that's just sent the email, because you're putting yourself first, I'm going to take 5 minutes because then when I get back to your email, I'll be able to do it better. Or I'm not going to take on this client at the moment because my energy is just not good for this. I'm not going to give you my best if I try and do something that I obviously feel I'm not up to at the moment. Then you don't do it at the moment because you won't be giving it your best. You're putting yourself first.
Mm.
You're being self-centered. So that's my little talk about putting yourself first, being self-centered. And what do you think? If anyone has anything to say about that topic, please chime in. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think, and I mean, there's various extremes we can take any subject matter to, but in one sense, if you are not self-centered in the pure sense of the word, you're not necessarily being honest with the people that you interact with. So if someone sends you an email and you feel the need to respond, maybe because you know that person and you know, okay, they're going to get agitated or they're going to chase, and therefore to manage it better, I'm going to just keep them happy and get it off. That's fine. But in an extreme situation, if they then end up with plenty of free time and send you 10 emails or 15 emails, you can only do it for so long before eventually you go, enough. And they're not wrong if they don't understand why you suddenly have thrown your toys out of the pram. Because the truth is, you were withholding from being who you were only for as long as you could, and you hoped that maybe the situation would get sorted, but it didn't. So eventually you drew the line. So rather than drawing it when you're frustrated and tired, draw it early on, but be polite, considerate in how you communicate it, but put that boundary in place. And they very quickly will adapt to it, or they'll go elsewhere. But you'll end up with the right interaction and the right people that accept you for who you are when you put yourself first. And it is that subtle difference between being true to yourself and making sure others know you for who you are, and being selfish in terms of taking. It's a big difference, but it can get confused. But I mean, just in my experience, I've found at times where I've started to say no to people, or not immediately yes, that actually I don't feel comfortable with that. I'm someone, if I've got time or I can't think of a reason not to do something, I'll agree to do it because I feel, well, why shouldn't I? I've got time. And if it helps someone. But eventually I realized if everyone called on you to do that, you would just like collapse. So you've got to kind of do that hard work yourself. And actually it is being self-centered, but it's actually being, you have a healthier relationship with all those other people that you deal with because they know where they stand with you at any point. And so I think it's, and if you're not putting yourself first, then who are you putting first? Because if you're putting someone else or a group of people, how can your life be balanced? I understand, if you've got a partner or a child, etc. But once you're putting someone else first, that you are not in their mind, you don't see the world the way they do, you're never going to get that 100 right for them or you. So start with yourself.
That's so true, because if you're not saying putting yourself first, who are you putting first?
Yeah.
That's
what's
an
your
amazing
baseline? What's your reference point that you are saying, this is how I choose to live my life,
Wow. And I actually have an example of of how a friend of mine has a therapist, and she was telling me she's seen this therapist for many, many years. But in the beginning, my friend, the client, she said, I was contacting her for advice on a weekend, where it wasn't a scheduled appointment time, but I needed some advice. I needed help. She needed to support me. And then this therapist did an amazing thing. She said, okay, I'm going to answer your question now, and we can have a call about this thing, even though it's not my appointment hours. But this is the exception. This kind of thing in future, if you want to talk about this, you've got to phone my office and make an appointment. So the unsaid thing was, I have to charge you for that kind of thing, and you can't just take my time whenever it suits you. And my friend said initially, she was like, oh, wait a minute, that's a bit strange. But I really actually appreciate it, because it meant for my friend that her therapist was thinking, you're actually okay. You don't need me to drop everything every time you ask the question. You need help. I trust you that you can, finish the weekend or wait a few days before you see me, before there's an opening to see me. You're not going to fall apart. I'm okay with you waiting to see me. And she said that actually helped her so much. And then in the end, she's never again, ever contacted this therapist outside of the office hours or an appointment framework, because she understood the boundary, but she also knew I can do this. So that kind of thing is exactly what you say. You're actually doing people a disservice by being too responsive too quickly, because they're never going to, themselves, they're never going to learn their own lessons and grow as a person, because remember, they're supposed to be self-centered as well. They're supposed to put themselves first and their growth, and you're withholding that from them.
Yeah. If you allow people to realize that in a certain situation, especially where you have a trusted relationship, let's say it's with a counselor, and that counselor has the ability to explain to you, if they're your point of reliance, but they have the ability to explain to you that, okay, there's no option for this. I'll make an exception, but after this, there's no option. But you trust them enough to know that they're not going to drop you where you would be in pieces. Then you suddenly find out where your kind of strength is and how able you actually are, because you have to stand up. But they won't drop you. If they see that, they'll make sure you're okay. And I think that's true. No matter what situation you have to take yourself to the limit where you understand what you can and can't do, to know where you actually are in yourself.
Exactly.
And the point where I'm not going to fall over is that point really where it's uncomfortable, but I'm not going to fall over. So it's those baby steps.
Yeah. And speaking of fall over, have any of you noticed, if you were not listening to yourself, and say you take the example of being tired, of pushing through when you actually should be resting, or not eating properly because you're in such a rush, you're putting someone else or a group of people's needs above you, like you were saying, Aaron, like you're not looking after yourself, you're looking after something else or someone else too much, and you are suffering. Do you find it in your bodies that your bodies tell you you've got some symptoms or things that go wrong, that okay, now I've pushed this too far? Because I certainly have, but I want to hear from you if you've got any of those.
Yes, I do.
How do you know, Marilis? What happens?
Headaches, for maybe 2 days ongoing. So then I know I must settle down a little bit.
Sure. And we still don't learn our lessons, do we?
No,
Why
we don't.
the headaches? It's like, I'm the same. It's like, come on, take a break. You don't need to do all of this immediately. And then the headaches then can make you kind of lose 2 days, and you're probably undoing all the good work you did because you can't function anymore.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I find in those situations, if I've overdone it, or I will find that I will wake up the one day and feel like I've got a cold coming on, or I think I've got a bug, but I haven't. It's just run down. But also sometimes subconsciously, I know that point. And so certain times I will actually still keep overdoing it, because I think, well, I know I'll have a day of feeling this, but at least I get this out the way. And that happens, and then I'm okay the next day. But it's not the healthiest way. The best way is to be able to, like you say, rein it in. If you water the garden a little bit, but just continuously, have it to be habitual. I'm a musician, and when I talk to people about learning, say, guitar or piano or anything, I say to them the same thing. Don't do an hour and a half practice on a Saturday or Sunday, because now your work's out the way and that's where you found time. I'm like, keep your guitar out. Don't put it in the box. Keep it out in the stand. And if you've got 30 seconds, you might be waiting for someone else to leave the house. Just spend 30 seconds doing it. And maybe 4 hours later, 30 seconds. You don't even need to do half-hour practice. It's those little bits continuously, like continuously watering the garden, or more frequently for shorter bits, so that it just keeps those nutrients going in. It forms part of your life, and it will become a significant part, because it's a continuous thing, rather than they dump all of this on you once and then leave you with nothing for 2 days. So
Exactly.
yeah, I relate to that analogy of gardening for sure.
Now we just need to start practicing what we're preaching
Yeah.
and what we see in the garden. And like, I know this, but then I say, I'll just finish the sentence and email. And then, okay, now I'll just finish the email. And then because I've now sent this email, that's going to start, something else is going to go kickstart. So I might as well start working on that thing. And then and it just doesn't stop. And if you, especially if you don't work for strict office hours, like I used to when I was a legal secretary, like around 1-ish, everyone goes to lunch. Around 5:30, people start packing up, they're going home. If you're working for yourself, or you're working from home, or you're working alone, you're your own boss, or you don't have other people around you who do these things, then it's so easy to slip into those, I just keep going.
Yeah.
But therein is the lesson. That's exactly why. And we are going to keep learning our lessons in life until we got the lesson. So
Yeah.
you're going to keep getting the headaches. I get shoulder aches, tummy aches. I just get really tired. And then but Natasha, you're doing it to yourself, right? And
Ye-
life is going to say, well, until you learn it, this is, you're going to suffer. So my husband in Afrikaans says, as jy dom is, gaan jy sukkel, né? Come on, kry dit in jou kop.
Do you find that when you do that, the reason you do it, or that you get a temporary moment of satisfaction where you think, well, okay, I'm ahead on this stuff because I've done this, and I'll just do these other bits, and now I feel okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And the truth is, so like, we're never ahead because there's always going to be something else if we think far enough ahead.
Exactly.
And so it's just about getting this bit done, and then being able to go, okay, you know.
Yeah. No, it's a self-made up thing. And then I don't know, like Aaron, if you say you're a magician, you're a magician with music, you're a musician. And if you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. But
Correct,
my
yeah.
heart is enjoying it, but my body, I'm still a physical body.
Yeah.
Well, my soul is contained in this physical body, and I've got to look after it, even though my heart is singing by doing what I'm doing. And I can keep going for hours, and I love what I do. But that's exactly why I should think, well, no, come on, look after yourself so you can keep doing what you want to love, what you love doing for longer. Otherwise, your body's got to give in, and you've got to stop the whole game.
Yeah.
I want to keep playing the game.
It's about, it's just about having a balance always. Whether you love something and are passionate about it, obviously it's easier to do it for longer if you do, but still it's a case of having a balance, you know, with anything.
Exactly, with anything. Well, Keith, I think you are retired, you said. So how do you manage your time? Do you have to water the garden a little bit? Or are you the guy who stands in the hose pipe for an hour and a half every day?
No, I'm quite busy because I do have a small job on Thursdays, which is just an hour or two in the morning. And then after that, I go and do our shopping. So, yeah, other than that, I keep myself busy. There's in the community where I live, there's quite a few, well, they're all people on pension. It's almost like a retirement village.
Okay.
And there are many old ladies that need a tap washer done, or the TV is not working, or something is going wrong. Toilet is leaking, and I do quite a lot of help with a lot of the houses.
I see.
I stay busy.
Are you close to Pretoria East by any chance?
No. No.
Oh yeah. So, but I think you're probably kind of the same thing. Like, you're not going to stop halfway through fixing someone's toilet because you need a break. But technically, we kind of need to say, you're supposed to, if you're tired, you need to take a little break. Just look after yourself. But certain circumstances, it just can't be done. But I guess you probably also need to set some boundaries by saying, people, don't take advantage of me. Like, right? Otherwise, this gets too far.
Yeah, it does get a bit much.
Yeah. Like, yep. Day and again, lessons. Why can't we just know these? We probably know all this stuff, but we need to practice it and put it into practice and say no.
But you'll be able to tell us, Natasha, because when it comes to doing this class on the 20th and 21st, now you've got 9, you might have 10 people. You'll see
Well-
halfway through whether you feel like this is okay or whether it's
But you know what? Actually, I can kind of say, I all the other courses in Pretoria, there was always a event on the Friday evening that I jointly did with Cassandra, either a yin and Reiki, yin yoga and Reiki, or sound healing and Reiki. And then on the Sunday evening, after I've taught the whole day, then I go back to the guest house, and then we go around 6 o'clock in the evening, then there's another event.
okay.
But this time I told her, even before we got to 8 students, I said, I don't think I can do this again, because actually on the Friday evening, there is already an event going on. So I'm going to be someone that's attending this. And I'm so looking forward to doing something, but not being the instructor, to just
Mhm.
attend.
No.
And then I said to her, but I don't think on the Sunday evening I would want to do something again. Maybe we just leave the Sunday evening classes. And she actually said she had the same thought. And we always seem to be in touch. Like one of us thinks it and the other one says it. It's like the same thing. But so I knew I shouldn't do too much, especially on a Sunday, because I've learned my lesson. It does take it out of me, especially with level 1, where I've got to do 4 attunements. So level 2 has 1 attunement. That's kind of easier. But level 1, I work the hardest in all the courses. So in this time it's going to be 10 people. So I knew. So I did learn my lesson in that sense. I can't pack too much in. And also when I get back home from the traveling, so I've arrived back in Garden Route like Monday afternoon, then I won't do anything on the Tuesday, even though I'm so tempted to do all the admin that comes from that follow up after teaching. But I've kind of streamlined my process. So I've got one page on my website where I have all the links that I tell people during the course. I'll send you this information. I'll send you that information. Here's the link that I use for that. All those things are now on one page on my website. So you'll probably on Monday morning get an email from me saying, this is the link, just go there. Well, I shared it with everyone on the Sunday already. So I saved myself from having to be tempted to do that admin, because I am tired and I need to get my energy up again. And actually a good friend of mine who's like a spiritual teacher, and he's a very, very good friend, he told me that I need to almost carbo load before I go teach. It's not necessarily what I eat while I'm there that gives me energy. It is what I do beforehand. So I shouldn't be the one who cuts out sugar and cuts out caffeine, and really kind of maybe stop eating meat, that kind of thing. I should do the opposite before the courses. Afterwards, I can maybe do things if I think I have to, but I need my energy when I'm there. So small little things like that, because I once had a call while I was teaching on that evening, and I said, oh my goodness, I don't know, I'm really struggling with this course. I don't know what's going on. And he was saying, yeah, you're depleted because you're giving so much, but you haven't given yourself enough in the run up to it. So yeah, you learn your lessons. And it's all about looking after yourself, being self-centered. So yeah, but just do it every day, and not just for the big events, like the small stuff as well. I think that's really what it is in. It's the small things, like every single day. Make sure you do your things.
Yeah, because if you do the small things, that influences all the bigger things, because all the big things are just small things, lots of small things together. So each piece,
it's a relative term. Yeah, even a big thing now could be nothing if someone else falls ill, if someone in your life passes away. Then big stuff actually mean nothing all of a sudden. It's all relative. And all through it, you've got to be the center of your own universe. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we are good for time. 9 o'clock, and we've now really covered a lot of information here. So I hope you are all going to be the rest of the week watering your gardens little bits regularly, often, paying attention. And looking after yourself, because if you look after yourself, you can look after others.